Chapter 1: Missing my wife while she was away on a business trip. I decided to give her a video call. When the screen lit up, she was wearing a sexy lace nightgown, leaning seductively against a chair. But in the bottom corner of the screen, I noticed something strange. The hem of her gown trembled ever so slightly, almost rhythmically. The seductive look in her eyes, the faint flush on her cheeks, and the soft, breathy moans slipping from her red lips. They told me everything I didn't want to believe. I ended the call. Moments later, a video from her young assistant popped up on my phone. In it, behind the gauzy curtains of a large waterbed, two bodies were tangled together, locked in a deep, passionate kiss. A man's underwear and a woman's lingerie lay carelessly tossed on the floor, intertwined. Beside them, two used condoms glistened under the dim light. 2 hours later, my wife called me back. Her face was flushed, her collarbone dotted with unmistakable red marks. "Hubby, I miss you so much," Victoria Vance said, her sweet, syrupy voice once capable of making me drop everything, book a flight, rush to her side no matter how tired I was. But now, all I could see in my mind were those condoms on the floor. A sharp, twisting pain shot through my chest. Was it anger? Or the deep, hollow ache of betrayal? My thoughts were in chaos. I couldn't believe that the woman who had sworn to love me for a lifetime only recently was now in bed with another man. Perhaps because I wasn't responding, Victoria grew impatient. "Honey, are you even listening to me?" I snapped back to the moment. "It's late. Is Ethan Miller still in your room?" Panic flashed across her face. The screen went black. She must have placed her phone face down on the table. After a short while, the screen lit up again, now aimed at Ethan, who was pretending to look over some documents. He waved at me. "Mr. Clark, I'm just helping Miss Vance organize the materials for tomorrow's competition," he said, but I saw the glint of provocation in his eyes. And at the very bottom of the frame, his bare legs clad only in briefs. A prickling pain bloomed in my chest, spreading through my whole body with terrifying speed. My hand shot up to clutch my heart. Victoria's eyes widened. "Hubby, what's wrong? Is it your heart? I'll call an ambulance for you right now." But just as she said that, Ethan suddenly slid off the sofa and onto the floor. Victoria, forgetting all about me, dropped her phone. By chance, the camera landed facing Ethan. I watched, frozen, as my wife, who had been pretending to be concerned for me just seconds ago, knelt down and held her assistant in her arms. Ethan pouted, hugging her close. She leaned in naturally and kissed him, her long legs wrapping around his waist. His large hands slipped inside her nightgown, kneading her greedily. In that moment, she completely forgot about her husband, who could have been dying of a heart attack on the other end of the line. Her lips grew swollen from his kisses. She leaned against him, panting, before finally seeming to remember that the call was still connected. It took her 5 minutes to compose herself. When she finally picked up the phone again, she wore that familiar, sweet, elegant smile, pure as if nothing had happened. "Hubby, are you feeling better now?" Ethan just fell. "You know he's my assistant, and I can't let anything happen to him, so I having just taken my heart medication." I lifted a hand to cut her off. "It's late," I said flatly. "Get some rest." I hung up. I stood and my eyes fell on our massive wedding portrait. Back when we got married, we didn't have much, but I had still given her the princess wedding she dreamed of. To give her a better life, I'd worked myself to exhaustion. 1 year after our wedding, I paid off all our debts. 2 years later, I bought the large apartment we now lived in. Standing before the floor-to-ceiling windows, I lit a cigarette, dragging deeply. A bitter, sour taste filled my chest. Our marriage had once been warm and steady, until Victoria hired Ethan Miller as her assistant. Under the excuse of needing help with her dance choreography, she spent nearly all her time with him. The image of them wrapped around each other just moments ago sent my heart plunging into darkness, and the thought that the hotel room they were in had been paid for with my credit card made me want to vomit. I made a call. "I need a list of all transactions on the supplementary card linked to my account." Chapter 2: The bank statement arrived on my phone almost instantly. Looking at the list was like being struck by lightning. A man's suit jacket worth $500. A belt and shoes worth over $1,000. Men's shirts. Various styles of specially tailored men's underwear, all in Ethan's size, while I was out there working myself half to death, suffering multiple heart attacks from exhaustion. Nearly dying to keep our lives comfortable, my hard-earned money was being spent on Ethan Miller. I staggered back and collapsed onto the sofa. The last charge was for a dozen different toys for added pleasure. I laughed bitterly. The marriage I thought I had was already riddled with holes. I called the bank. Cancel all supplementary cards under my name. 3 days later, Victoria returned home with Ethan. The moment they walked through the door, they fell into each other's arms. "Victoria, you smell so good," Ethan murmured. "I can't wait. Let's do it right here on the sofa." Victoria pressed her hands lightly against his chest. "You little thing, are you trying to drain me dry?" They were laughing and whispering, so wrapped up in each other that it took them a while to notice me sitting calmly on the sofa, sipping my coffee. Victoria's face drained of color. She instinctively pushed Ethan away. "Hubby, why aren't you at the office today?" I slowly set my cup down. She hurried over, grabbing my arm, speaking in a falsely sweet tone. Just now I almost tripped, and Ethan was helping me up. "Don't get the wrong idea. I've been so tired from practicing for the dance competition. My legs feel weak." I raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure they're weak from too much dancing, and not from too much time in bed?" Her face flushed with anger. "Sincere Clark, what are you implying? Aren't you tired of being suspicious all the time? Just because I'm married you doesn't mean I can only have one man in my life. I married you. I didn't sell myself to you. Keep this up and you will be the one to destroy our relationship." Ethan stepped forward. "Mr. Clark, you've really misunderstood us. I'm her personal assistant. It's my job to take care of her." As he rolled up his sleeves, I saw the charm bracelet on his wrist. I had bought that bracelet for Victoria. She used to get injured often while dancing, and I'd gone to a famous artisan to have it made. I had driven 15 hours straight to get there on time, just to show my sincerity. I remember her throwing herself into my arms, whispering that she'd never take it off. Victoria followed my gaze and spotted the bracelet. Her eyes flickered. "Hubby, don't misunderstand. Ethan's been falling a lot lately, so I just lent it to him for a couple of days." She quickly slipped it off his wrist. Ethan pouted. "Victoria, the little bell on this was our secret. You even said me wearing it would make you more excited." His voice was quiet, but I heard every word. Victoria's expression shifted. "Take your luggage to my room, then you can leave." Chapter 3. Victoria shrugged off her jacket. Underneath, she was wearing a man's shirt, the faint scent of cologne clinging to it. But it wasn't mine. "My shirt's comfortable, isn't it, Victoria?" Ethan said with a smirk. "And it has my scent on it." She gave him a seductive smile. "Of course, it smells amazing." Their blatant flirting right in front of me almost made me throw up. Victoria took my hand. "Hubby, don't get the wrong idea. I didn't pack enough clothes for this trip, so I just borrowed one of Ethan's shirts." I stayed silent, my lips pressed into a thin line. She threw herself into my arms, pulling my hand to her stomach. "Hubby, I'm pregnant. I'm 2 months along. You're going to be a father." Becoming a father had always been my dream, but Victoria, she had always been afraid pregnancy would ruin her figure and her dancing career. The first time she got pregnant, she'd had an abortion behind my back. After that, to prevent any more accidents, I always made sure to use protection. "Hubby, are you stunned with joy?" "Don't worry, I'll definitely carry the baby to term this time. I'm sure our baby will be the cutest, most beautiful baby in the world." I pulled my hand away and pushed her onto the sofa beside me, her face twisted with anger. "Sincere Clark, are you trying to shirk responsibility? I'm telling you I'm having this baby. Transfer me $10,000. I need to buy some supplements." My Adam's apple bobbed. "Weren't you afraid pregnancy would ruin your figure and your dancing career? What made you suddenly change your mind? Besides, I always use protection." "Are you sure you're pregnant?" Ethan pulled a folded report from his pocket and laid it in front of me. "It's true, Mr. Clark. I went with Victoria to her checkup. The report said she was 8 weeks pregnant." I smiled faintly. "All right then, let's have the baby." Victoria and Ethan's eyes met briefly before quickly looking away. "Hubby, I knew you loved me the most. Hurry up and transfer the money. Ethan and I are going shopping in a bit." I spread my hands. "There's no money." Both of them froze. "Mr. Clark," Ethan frowned, "you make a 6-figure salary and you have savings. How could you have no money? You can't be serious." I smirked. "All my savings were spent on a certain toy boy. From his designer clothes to his custom underwear, everything was bought with my money." Victoria's face went pale. She snapped at me. "Sincere Clark, What do you mean? Are you still accusing me and Ethan? I calmly set the throw pillow aside, stood, and walked toward them. I've quit my job, so there's no more salary. As for the money you spent on another man, I will get back every single cent. My gaze shifted to Ethan. You should start thinking about how you're going to pay me back, because if you don't, I'll file for a court order to seize your assets. Then you won't be able to jet off with your dear Victoria under the guise of a competition, enjoying the lavish waterbed suites we booked. Victoria flushed with shame and fury, grabbing a pillow and hurling it at me. You're trying to ruin my reputation. Sincere Clark, I will not forgive you for this. Ethan held her back. Chapter 4. Victoria, you have to think about the baby, he said gently. It's true you've been neglecting Mr. Clark lately. This is probably just his way of getting your attention. Calm down. I'll take you out to get some fresh air. Victoria shot me a hateful glare. This time, let's just see how long you can keep this drama up. They turned and left. Just before the door closed, I saw their hands tightly clasped together. The next time I heard from Victoria was a week later. I had just finished drafting the divorce agreement when my phone rang. Hello, is this Victoria Vance's husband? This is City General Hospital. She's in a rather critical condition. We need a family member to come to the hospital as soon as possible. After hanging up, I went straight there. When Victoria saw me, she bit her lip pitifully and pointed an accusing finger at the doctor. Hubby, you're finally here. They want to get rid of our baby. I glanced down and saw the blood between her legs. The doctor looked exasperated. Don't you young people have any self-control? You knew she was pregnant, yet you were still so rough. Don't you know you're not supposed to have intercourse during the early stages of pregnancy? I understood instantly. Victoria's voice was thick with tears. Hubby, don't worry about that right now. The baby can't be aborted. I shrugged. Doctor, you heard her. My wife doesn't want to abort the child, so please try to save the pregnancy. The doctor sighed but agreed. She was moved to a ward, and a nurse gave her an injection to prevent miscarriage. She had always been terrified of pain, but this time for the sake of the baby she endured it. Seeing her cry from the sting of the injection, my heart felt like still water. I remembered the last time she had an abortion. Behind my back. Whenever she was in a bad mood afterward, she would call me an animal for getting her pregnant. Afraid she'd suffer complications, I had endured her scolding in silence and taken even better care of her, cooking her nutritious porridge to help her recover, only for her to throw it at me in disgust. Thinking about it now, I sneered inwardly. Sincere Clark, I'm thirsty. I want some water. Just then, Ethan walked into the room. Without even acknowledging me, he poured her a glass and affectionately helped her drink. A smile bloomed on Victoria's pale face. Sincere Clark, I really don't know how you manage to be a husband. You're not even as caring or attentive as Ethan. I smiled faintly. If the assistant is so good at taking care of you, then let him take care of you. Victoria pouted. Fine. Then you'll have to pay him a $10,000 care fee. I pulled out the divorce agreement I had prepared and tossed it onto her bed. Sign it. Let's get a divorce. Seeing the papers, she completely broke down. Sincere Clark, you bastard. I'm here trying to save our baby, and you want to divorce me? You can go to hell. Faced with her curses, I took a step back. I'm letting the baby's father stay here and take care of you. What are you not satisfied with? Her eyes darted nervously. Don't talk nonsense. Ethan and I are innocent. The baby is yours. I snorted and threw the explicit photos Ethan had sent me onto her lap. Victoria Vance, you are so dirty. Chapter 5. Seeing those photos, Victoria completely fell apart. She shoved Ethan away and grabbed my hand. Hubby, let me explain these. I yanked my hand free and pulled out a tissue, wiping the spot she had touched with disgust. I'll pack up your things and have them sent to your toy boy's place. With that, I turned for the door. Her scream followed me. Sincere Clark, you promised to love me for a lifetime. If you leave me, you'll be breaking your vow and you'll face retribution. Retribution! I laughed coldly and turned my head. Marrying you was the greatest retribution of my life. I strode away. Back home, I packed all her belongings. Years of marriage filled 5 large boxes, which I had couriered directly to Ethan's address. On the floor lay our wedding portrait, freshly taken down. In it, I was beaming, looking like I'd gained the whole world. Now, my heart ached as if it were being sliced apart. 3 days later, Victoria showed up. Her eyes glistened with tears. Do you have to be so cruel? Ethan's place only has one bed and no living room. How am I supposed to live there? Looking at her pitiful expression, my heart was as calm as a still lake. Since you chose him, you can share his hardships. After all, according to you, I'm a clueless waste who can't compare to him in any way. Her expression flickered. I was just talking nonsense. In my heart, you're the most important one. Just as she finished, Ethan walked in. He pulled her into his arms. Victoria, that's not what you said to me in bed. You said he was a clueless waste who doesn't even know what foreplay is, that he couldn't even use those little toys. You said I was the only man in the world who could satisfy you. I was thankful I hadn't eaten breakfast otherwise. I would have thrown up. If you two want to put on a show, just sign the divorce papers and get it over with. I wiped the tears from her face. Sincere, Clark. I admit I've neglected you lately because of Ethan, but using divorce to get my attention, that's just foolish. I can forgive you this time, but if there's a next time, her voice faltered, I will never forgive you. Looking at the still delusional Victoria, I calmly pulled out a fresh copy of the divorce agreement, placed it on the table, and signed my name in front of her. I don't need your forgiveness. Seeing me sign, Victoria froze. Ethan, standing beside her, glanced at the signed papers. Sign it, Victoria. You'll get half of his assets anyway. I laughed, flipping the agreement open and pointing to a specific clause. Read it carefully. It says you'll leave with nothing. Victoria's face darkened. She snatched the document, ripped it in half. I've been married to you for years, and you want me to leave with nothing? In your dreams, Sincere, Clark. If you want a divorce, fine, but you'll have to give me $50,000. I gave her a cold, short snort. Then I'll see you in court. Chapter 6. I filed for divorce. Victoria refused to appear in court. It wasn't until 3 months later, when she could no longer hide her pregnancy, that she finally showed up, with Ethan by her side. His hand rested proudly on her swollen belly, a smug grin on his face. Sincere, Clark, you've lost completely. The woman is mine, and the baby is mine. I looked at him without the slightest ripple of emotion. Congratulations. My calmness deflated his attempt at provocation. He gave me a frustrated glare. The divorce proceeded smoothly. The explicit videos and provocative photos Ethan had sent me were more than enough. In less than an hour, I walked out holding the divorce certificate. Victoria, forced to leave with nothing, glared at me viciously. Sincere, Clark, you will not have a good end. I smiled, turning to my lawyer. Draft another lawsuit. I want to recover every cent she spent on other men during our marriage. Her face drained of color. Sincere, Clark, are you trying to drive me to my death? I shrugged. My money is for raising my wife and child. He's not my son. Of course, if he were to call me dad, I might consider dropping the lawsuit. Ethan's face flushed purple, then green. Victoria, let's go. They were about to get into the car when I stopped them. The car is mine. Victoria snapped. You bought this for me. I nodded. You said it yourself. I used to buy things for you. We're divorced now. And let me remind you, you cheated, and you're leaving with nothing. She jutted out her belly defiantly. I'm not giving you the keys. What are you going to do? Hit a pregnant woman? I didn't bother arguing. I simply took out my phone and made a call. Bring a few guys over. A short while later, my friends arrived, carrying bats and crowbars. Smash it. Ignoring Victoria's screams, they went to work, shattering glass and denting metal until the car was nothing but wreckage. She was so furious she collapsed onto the ground. I got into my friend's car and drove away without a backward glance. Victoria showed up at my door the very next morning. Despite everything, she still carried that high and mighty princess air. Seeing me, she frowned. That suit you're wearing is hideous. Take it off. And that tie doesn't suit you either. I let out a laugh. Miss Vance, what gives you the right? Hearing the name Vance made her realize what I was implying. Her face twisted with scorn. Sincere, Clark, you loved me for so many years. I don't believe you have no feelings for me now. Ethan was right. This is just your way of getting my attention. Fine, I admit it. You won this time. We'll go remarry tomorrow. I promise I won't neglect you for Ethan anymore. I gave a cold chuckle. Miss Vance, if you're so idle, maybe you should go get yourself checked out. After all, your little toy boy is very creative in bed. Who knows where he learned those tricks? Maybe from other women. Her face paled. Impossible. Ethan is clean. He told me he's never been with another woman besides me. I was his first and only one. I pursed my lips. Then the two of you can be locked together forever. When I turned to leave, she instinctively reached for me. I stepped back sharply, looking at her with disgust. I have a thing about cleanliness. Her expression twisted. You really don't want me anymore? I nodded. I don't. Like recycling garbage. Chapter 7. Victoria stared at me in disbelief. No, that's impossible. You said we'd grow old together. All those years of feelings can't just disappear. Sincere. You're joking, right? Her crying was pitiful. You're only divorcing me because of Ethan Miller. Fine, I'll break up with him right now. I promise he'll never appear in our lives again. Her phone rang, cutting her off. The name my willing little baby flashed across the screen. Answer it, I said. She quickly picked up. Victoria, Ethan's voice came through. When are you coming back? I'm not feeling well. Can you take me to the hospital? She looked at me, torn. Anxiety flickered in her eyes. Go on, I said. She hesitated, then put on a soft voice. Hubby, wait for me. I'll take him to the hospital and be right back. I love you. I only see him as my assistant. Without another word, she rushed toward the elevator. When I got back to my apartment, I sent an email to HR, applying for a transfer to headquarters. Working there had always been my dream. I'd had the chance before, but I'd turned it down. Afraid Victoria couldn't manage on her own. Thankfully, opportunities come to those prepared. Headquarters had extended the invitation again. This time, I had no reservations. The day after sending my email, HQ replied. After a discussion with the HR manager, I decided to start in 1 month. I wrapped up my work, handed over my responsibilities, and walked out of the office carrying my personal belongings. At the company entrance, I froze. Victoria stood there, in the wedding dress from our marriage, complete with veil only now. Her belly was swollen. Her eyes lit up the moment she saw me, and she lifted her skirt to hurry toward me. Hubby, let's start over. I've made things clear with Ethan. I told him he's not allowed to see me anymore. Her voice softened into a sweet, almost coquettish smile. For a moment, I almost saw the girl from our wedding day, pure, beautiful, like a rose I had once felt so lucky to pick. Hubby, we can go back to how things were, right? I glanced at her belly. She raised her hand in a swearing gesture. I've already scheduled an appointment with the doctor. I'll have an abortion tomorrow. From now on, I'll only have your children. I smiled coldly. Miss Vance, please. Remember, you and I will never have a future together. I walked right past her. She tried to grab me, but I didn't give her the chance. Behind me, her desperate cries echoed. I thought she'd finally give up. But the next day, she came again, this time squatting at my door. She kept pressing the doorbell until my elderly neighbor called, complaining she couldn't rest. I had to cut short my gathering with friends to come home. When she saw me, Victoria jumped up, holding a thermos like a prize. Hubby, I made your favorite seafood porridge. I used a lot of fresh seafood. I know you'll love it. She opened the lid. The rich aroma of seafood instantly filled the air. Just one bite, please. If you like it, I'll make it again tomorrow. I took the thermos. Her eyes lit up, certain I'd softened. Then I threw the porridge straight into the trash can. Her smile froze. The one who liked seafood porridge was never me, I said coldly. It's your little toy boy, Ethan Miller. I'm allergic to seafood. The light in her eyes dimmed instantly. Her body swayed. I forgot, but I can cook other things for you. I'll bring them tomorrow morning. I gave her a faint smile. Victoria, even a stray dog wouldn't need what you cook. Stop wasting food. Just looking at that porridge made me sick. With every word I spoke, her face grew paler. She knew better than anyone that these were the exact words she had once thrown at me, and now I was returning them to her, word for word. She looked at me pitifully. Sincere. I'll come back to you. We can start over. Can you not make Ethan pay back the money? He's just a lowly assistant. He has no money to give you. I was the one who bought him all those things. Seeing her still pleading for Ethan, I found it almost laughable. Since you're the one who spent the money, you can be the one to pay it back. Victoria was stunned. Chapter 8. Victoria refused to leave. I paid her no mind and went back inside. That night, I slept soundly, a deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, when I went out for my run, I saw Victoria. She had been waiting downstairs all night. She followed me as I jogged, clutching her belly now and then, panting for breath. I could only shake my head. I genuinely want to change. I really want to start over with you. Just as she finished speaking, Ethan showed up. Without a word, he opened the small briefcase he was carrying. Inside were thick stacks of cash. He pointed at me arrogantly. "Sincere Clark, I've paid you back. Now stop harassing my woman." His loud voice drew attention from the people around us. Murmurs spread through the growing crowd. I calmly picked up one of the stacks. Under Ethan's nervous gaze, I pulled out the first few bills, then saw that the rest were nothing but prop money. I laughed. "Mr. Miller, is this how you plan to pay me back?" With a flick of my wrist, I tossed the prop bills into his face. The onlookers chuckled. Victoria's face flushed with shame. In a sudden burst of fury, she slapped Ethan twice across the face. "You disgraceful dog. Get lost. I never want to see you again." Ethan stared at her, stunned. "Victoria, you hit me? Don't forget the baby in your belly is mine. You're the one who dragged me into your bed. Have you forgotten how you crawled on the floor like a dog in that sexy nightgown to please me?" The crowd was riveted, listening with interest. Victoria's face turned as white as paper. "Hubby, don't listen to his nonsense." My eyes stayed flat, void of emotion. You're treating me like a joke, aren't you?" I nodded. "It's quite amusing." The last flicker of hope in her eyes went out. She launched herself at Ethan, hitting him like a madwoman. Ethan, dazed at first, quickly fought back. With a vicious shove, he sent Victoria sprawling to the ground. Her belly struck the pavement hard. Bright red blood bloomed across her white dress. The crowd gasped. Ethan froze. I didn't mean to. I have to go." Victoria stared, wide-eyed, at his retreating back. It took her a long moment to turn toward me, her eyes full of pleading. "Help. Help me. My stomach. It hurts so much." I still called for an ambulance. Victoria was rushed to the hospital. Her life was saved, but she lost the baby. When she woke, I was standing at her bedside. Tears streamed from the corners of her eyes. You still care about me, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have called an ambulance for me." I smiled. It wasn't concern. I just wanted to see what kind of fate befalls a woman who betrays her family. Now I've seen it. "Take care of yourself." I turned to leave, but as I reached the door, I heard something crash to the floor behind me. Instinctively, I turned back. Victoria had fallen onto the floor. Don't leave me. If you go, I'll die. What does your life or death have to do with me?" I said flatly. Her heart trembled. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Without another moment's hesitation, I walked out of the hospital room. Chapter 9. The next time I heard news of Victoria was an hour before my flight to the head office. I was in the VIP lounge, enjoying a rich coffee with a friend. "Victoria's situation is really tragic now," my friend said. I raised an eyebrow. "The baby's gone, and because she didn't get proper care, her health is ruined." That toy boy, once he realized he couldn't squeeze any more money out of her, never even visited her in the hospital. She went to find him a few times and was thrown out twice. His parents even gave her a severe beating. Hearing all this, my heart stayed calm. I had no interest in the affairs of a stranger. It was 3 years later when I returned to Bay City. By then, I had firmly established myself at the head office. I was earning a 7-figure salary. I brought my girlfriend home to pay respects to my ancestors. After visiting the family graves, I took her to the largest shopping mall in the city center. My sweetie, Sophie, had lived abroad all her life and was fascinated by everything here. "I want candied fruit skewers," she said, pointing ahead and shaking my arm playfully. I pinched her cheek affectionately. "All right, I'll get them for you." She hugged me happily. After buying her the treat, I glanced around idly and my gaze landed on a woman nearby, digging through a trash can and stuffing whatever she found into her mouth. Sophie couldn't bear the sight. She took a cake she'd just bought and walked toward the woman. "The things in the trash are too dirty. You'll get sick if you eat them. Here, have this instead." The woman saw the cake and snatched it greedily, stuffing it into her mouth with desperate speed. She ate so quickly she began to choke. "Sincere, quick, give her some water." The woman looked up. She pushed aside the matted, dirty hair stuck to her face, and with the movement came a foul stench. I instinctively pulled Sophie back a few steps, her eyes filled with tears. "Sincere, it's me. I'm Victoria." "Victoria." I stared at her in shock. Her face was smeared with food from the trash can. Her clothes were ragged and torn. At her feet lay a crude wooden crutch. I noticed her right leg. It was bent at a stark, unnatural angle. It was Ethan who did this. He drinks all the time, and whenever Whenever I don't beg for enough money, he beats me. I'm a now. Victoria staggered toward us. Sophie moved to help her, but I caught sight of the blister-like sores covering her exposed arms. A jolt of alarm went through me. I quickly pulled Sophie to the side. Victoria missed a step and fell to the ground. She struggled to lift her head. Give me some money, please. I want to get treatment. Ethan gave me a disease. A dirty one. I pulled a few $100 bills from my pocket and tossed them in front of her. Victoria scooped them up, ready to hide them in her clothes, when a figure rushed over and snatched the money from her hands. Not bad today. You managed to get this much. Now I can go find some pretty girls. I looked closely and recognized the man, Ethan Miller. Give me back the money. Victoria shouted. Ethan viciously slapped her. You stinking. You're just my money-making tool now. You'd better beg for another 1,000 today, or I'll make your night a living hell. Victoria caught the pity in my eyes. Suddenly, she grabbed the wooden crutch from the ground and swung it hard at Ethan. The crutch cracked against the back of his head. Blood splattered. Ethan collapsed. You dare to hit me? I'll send you to hell right now. Like a madman, Ethan pinned Victoria to the ground. His fists came down again and again. I was busy comforting a terrified Sophie. By the time she had calmed, I looked back. Ethan was collapsed on the ground, and Victoria was beaten black and blue. She crawled toward me. If there's a next life, can we start over, please? My expression stayed calm. No, Victoria coughed up a mouthful of blood. A few minutes later, the ambulance arrived. Both Victoria and Ethan were taken away on stretchers. I left, holding my shaken girlfriend in my arms. The next day, I saw the news about Victoria and Ethan. Ethan had stopped breathing on the way to the hospital. Although Victoria's life was saved, she now faced charges of manslaughter. It was all finally over, and I was beginning a new life.